Hello and welcome back to the video game selection series, where if it's not convoluted, it's not worth doing. Today we're bringing the pro race from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where we'll go 500 miles with 4 classes of cars as usual. Class A was going to be the Indy cars, Class B is going to be the Indy Lights, Class C will be the Indy Pro 2000, and Class D will be the USF 2000 cars. Today will be a day of trying to work the bottleneck, particularly of the Class D cars, since they are the slowest on the field and takes a little bit of time to maneuver through, and so that's going to be a pivotal factor in how this race turns out. So today we're going to go through the starting lineup. We've got it shown right here real quick, and then we'll walk through everybody. The yellow cars on the side are shown as Class A, blue and Class B, red is Class C, and the teal cars are Class D. And with that, we'll go ahead and step through our field to see who's racing for that spot to be added to the video game queue that I'll be playing. So on pole, we're going to have Mario. To the outside is going to be the number 1 seed overall, Star Fox. And moving back through the field, we've got Pikmin, Sonic the Hedgehog, The Legend of Zelda, the winner of the Class B race at the Little Wing 500, Fallout, Ultima, The Elder Scrolls, Mega Man, and bringing up the last place for Class A, G-Police. Then in Class B, we've got Grand Theft Auto, Doom, Metal Gear Solid, Dynasty Warriors, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Mother, Minecraft, The Last of Us, and NHL, who won the Class C race at the previous event. Then back to Class C, we've got Civilization, Killer Instinct, Factorio, Shadow of the Colossus, Xenoblade Chronicles, Elite, Ori, Gran Turismo, Clay Fighter, who won the Class D race at the previous event, and Diablo. And for Class D, we have Spyro, Bayonetta, Dwarf Fortress, who won the Challenger race at the previous event, Metroid Prime, Cuphead, Animal Crossing, Call of Duty, EVO, Resident Evil, and Batman Arkham. And so with that, very shortly, we should be seeing the field roll off. We'll take 1 pace lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then we'll be set up for 200 laps, 500 miles to settle this. And there we go, pace car pulling away. Field catching up to join with the pace car. And we'll move over to our TV view, and we will stick with our pole sitter for at least the start of this race. Yeah, it'll be a fairly straight up race for about 2 laps, I would suspect, and then very soon after that, we're going to catch up to the lapped cars. So we'll try to get the visual of what it's like to be approaching these slower cars when you are in the faster field. So we'll see if we can't bring that experience to the audience here. I would suspect cautions will be aplenty during this race. It's really just a matter of you want to be aggressive and get through the field, but you also need to exhibit a lot of patience with the slower cars. So we will see what prevails, who prevails, as we get this race underway. Pace car takes that hard left into the pits. Mario now has control of the field.
Green flag. flag, green flag.
Green flag is out. Mario gets a good jump, pulls ahead of Star Fox. Sonic the Hedgehog going on the low side of Star Fox, trying to take away that second position, and looks like they will. So we got Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, Star Fox. That was the Legend of Zelda, and the number 9, which is Ultima. Trying to make the run to get closer into this field. Yeah, so here's your Class A field, all running pretty well together. Sonic trying to show their superiority over Mario, even though they're not. And trying to take the lead. Mario holds him off so far. Down the backstretch, Sonic gets a good draft right up to the bumper of Mario. Holds off for now, coming out of turn 4, ready to complete lap 2. But we're also getting ready to very quickly approach this Class D field. So we're going to jump on board now on the cockpit of Mario, as down the backstretch, if you look just ahead, forgive the we're breaking the windscreen there. You can see there through turn 3 is the Class D field. So how will Mario be able to negotiate this? Here we are approaching through turn 4. Oh, could have taken the outside line. Sonic the Hedgehog did. Oh my goodness, and then we got big wiggle there from, I assume that was Star Fox. I got Ultima working down on the inside. No, that's not that's the number 4 car, which I believe is Fallout. Yeah, so now let's move up to Sonic the Hedgehog, who's now quickly approaching the Class C field. And let's see how Sonic negotiates the slightly faster Class C field. Looking to the outside, okay, hits heavy on the brakes. Okay, now taking the outside. Will they clear the whole field before they get to the short chute? Oh, they had to let up a little bit, but they eventually did, yes, get through the entire Class C field. So Sonic the Hedgehog now with the lead as they're pulling away. So it looks like negotiating those first couple of classes. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, Ultima, Fallout, and Mario. Now we've got the Class B field about to approach the Class D field. Let's go on board with them and see what that's going to look like. So here's Doom, the leader of Class B right now, approaching the Class D field, looking to the outside at turn 1, and masterfully negotiates that. Well done. Yeah, Doom is through. And it looks like several of the Class B cars were able to follow suit. Heading back to the front, it does look like one of the Class A cars has been held up by the Class C field and is still being held up. Yeah, we are on lap 6, and we're getting ready to approach the Class D field once again. So this is the slowest class of cars. Let's see how Sonic the Hedgehog can deal with this. They're in one big straight. Oh my goodness, had to let up a lot and almost lost it there. And we've got some cars going on the inside where there is a Class C car here that's been held up with or a Class B car even. It's been held up with this group. Yeah, but now we have Ultima's got to the lead. And yeah, that's just been. Yeah, once again, you can see how the difference in speed, the bottleneck of these cars, how it does create a little bit of chaos out here. Here's Doom in Class B, getting ready to approach the Class C field for the first time. And then soon after, we're going to have the Class A cars approaching the Class B cars for the first time. Okay, so Doom trying to get through. This is Class B on Class C. Doom looks to the inside. Looks to have a clear shot. Are they willing to take it? Because they will be then kind of held up by... Or they would have the inside where they would possibly be pinched as they're going through. I think they're deciding that discretion, the better part of valor here. Oh, and there on the outside, I think we just saw Fallout moving through. So that's Fallout who just got through the Class B field. So Fallout has really taken the advantage of this full bottleneck situation, has really jumped out to a nice lead as the rest of the Class A field is being held up by the Class C cars, or the combination of Class C and Class B cars, and is now moving forward. And now you can start to see the separation that presents itself as a result of these multi-class field. And here comes Fallout, our leader, getting ready to complete lap 9. Approaching the Class D field, which does have a little bit of Class B and Class A with it. And now Fallout has sort of settled in, so that's where we are. And so now I'm going to switch to the view that's going to, I think, be the main focus of a lot of this race, which is with the Class D leader and looking behind to see who can possibly make it through. We do have a pass for the lead here in Class D, as Call of Duty is making their way around Spyro. Bayonetta on the outside, so there's a 3-wide group, which is why you can see the bottleneck does form. Yeah, we've got Spyro here leading, and now, not too long from now, we'll have the entire field behind them, and then it's really about who can negotiate, maneuver their way up through the field, and then basically gain a lap on the field as they break through the Class D battle up at the front. Yeah, that big 3-wide battle with Spyro up at the front. Call of Duty, who moves in behind Spyro. Bayonetta looks to be taking advantage to get to the front of this field. Now we've got, on the inside, we've got 3 cars making their way through. And so let's jump up with the Class A field. Who made it? Who made it through there? We had. Here we go, we've got the Elder Scrolls. Oh, caution is out. So we did have a couple of cars make it through, and that did get us up toward the front, but let's go back and see if we can find out where the caution came out. So here we're looking through, it's likely from this group, just the... No, actually, it looks like it's the group behind. So here we're going to go to the Class C field. Yeah, because it looks like it's happening just back here in just back here, and it does look like it's going to end up being the number, what is it, 19 car of Minecraft. Here, let's go to Chopper Command to get a view of this one. So we're going to back up a little bit. And now let's see what happens. We got the big bottleneck. We got Class A cars, Class B cars, Class C cars. Oh, it looks like Star Fox just kind of pinched out Minecraft, and Minecraft then goes for a wicked ride. Several flips. Oh my goodness. And then, yeah, just coming to rest there at the end. All right, let's get back to live with Chopper Command. Let's see, safety car is out, but we're still trying to get the field bunched up behind the pace car. Right now, Ultima's being shown as the leader and is behind the pace car. And Ultima is going to take this opportunity to go into the pits, and since the rest of the field hasn't caught up yet, they've kind of got an advantage on everybody. Because they'll be able to make this maneuver and get a pit in and get out ahead of everybody else. It does look like Sonic the Hedgehog is coming in. As is a lot of the Class A field. I think I saw Mario stay out. So we've got a lot of... cars staying out. Yeah, so let's get back up to Ultima, who's coming back out to the field right now. Ultima looks like going to be in P3 with a pit stop. And ahead of them, it looks like it's probably Mario and the Elder Scrolls. So yeah, once we get back to the start-finish line, we will... Yeah, it looks like most of the field, with the exception of the Class D cars, did take a pit stop. We'll give a full rundown of the field once we get back to the scoring line. Yeah, the cars ahead of Mario, who appears to be the leader on track, will get the wave around. And so that'll be the entire Class D field. Yes, so now everybody is through. Mario, the Elder Scrolls, who did not pit, Ultima, Fallout, Legend of Zelda, Mega Man, G-Police, Pikmin, and Sonic the Hedgehog are at the head of the field. I'm recording the other classes right now. We'll come back and we'll give a quick rundown before we go to green. It looks like Star Fox got caught up in that as well, so Star Fox is possibly going to be out of the race, as is Minecraft. So Minecraft and Star Fox might be already out of this. Alright, so in Class B, we've got Doom, Dynasty Warriors, and Mother as top three, all one lap down to the leader, which is basically the whole Class A field. And then we've got, in Class C, we've got Killer Instinct, Civilization, Shadow of the Colossus in the top three. And in Class D, we've got Spyro, Call of Duty, and Animal Crossing. Now we'll jump on board with Mario, who is the leader of the race.
Green flag, green flag.
And we are off. Now you can see from the track map that the Class D field hasn't even got all the way back around, so they're gonna still have to catch up with the field, and the yellow flag is already out in turn one. Let's go back and try to see who is involved here. It does look like there's a Class A car involved. Yeah, so that's probably a car that's involved. Let's go back and see what happens here. So it actually happens a little bit ahead on the restart. Let's go to Chopper Command. So Sonic the Hedgehog looks like it's the worst of this. Takes the outside, which you're allowed to pass on the outside. You've got a car, smack into the wall, Sonic. Oh, gets airborne, and then, whoa, big flips. Yeah, let's go back and see who the initial car involved was. Yeah, so it looks like it's Factorio, who just kind of loses it, comes over to the side, and then woo! Sonic flipping wildly up in front of them. So Factorio and Sonic both looking fairly out of it at this point, I would say. So we have our second caution. Coming out at lap 17. So now we've got the field bunching up again. So we'll see if there's any takers in the pits this time. I expect Ultima would stay out. Mario and the Elder Scrolls both still electing to stay out. Here comes the rest of the field around. I mean, those who wanted to pit, I guess, had already pit, so if they didn't pit last time, they're not going to pit this time, so... There probably were a couple of pit takers on the previous lap, just a little bit of dysfunction in getting the field together, but it looks like there are a couple cars that did take the pit stop. So let's get a rundown of the field. So up at the front, we still have Mario, Elder Scrolls, Ultima, but now they'll all be together. Legend of Zelda, Fallout, Mega Man, G-Police, and Pikmin, all on the lead lap. Then in Class B, we got Dynasty Warriors, Final Fantasy, and Doom as the top three. Class C, we got Killer Instinct, Civilization, and Elite as the top three. And in Class D, we got Call of Duty, Animal Crossing, and Dwarf Fortress. And we are getting ready to go back to green. We'll be restarting here on lap 20. And Mario is off.
Green flag, green flag.
Mario, the Elder Scrolls, and Ultima are all through. Let's see if we make it to turn one this time without a caution. Here's to the back of the field. Class B cars here with the mix of everything. Some Class A cars trying to get through. Mega Man, G-Police trying to get through. Our big Class D field right here. It looks like Bayonetta, who I believe restarted in 4th in Class D, looks like they might now be in the lead of the Class D field. So there's Class D running nose to tail. Here, let's get a look at this rear chase as the Class A field will be approaching very shortly. In the background, yes, you can see the leaders in Class A coming around. Here they go. Class D's approaching turn 3. Mario wanted to look to the inside, didn't do it. Elder Scrolls and Mario both look to the outside. There they go. Ooh, Call of Duty steps out, which cuts off this Class A group trying to get through. Will anybody be able to negotiate this? Oh, now they feel like they're boxed in. So the top 3 in Class A are boxed in. Here's Legend of Zelda. Does Legend of Zelda take a peek to the inside? Yes, they do. And Legend of Zelda will take the lead. Legend of Zelda, who was a Class B, or originally a Class D car in the field. They have moved their way up into Class C. They've won the Class B race at the previous event, and if the race were to end as is, they would be a winner in Class A and move into the video game queue. Long ways to go, though. By no means is that set in stone or a prediction. Yeah, Legend of Zelda now being held up by some Class C cars, and other Class A cars have now been released from the Class D field. So we'll see if they'll be able to maneuver their way up through here. One Class B car not having the confidence to get around this Class C field, but okay, here comes Mega Man. Mega Man taking a peek, not sure where to go. There's Pikmin. Pikmin going to the outside. Oh, but okay, and the Class B car finally gets around. And so that should actually end up moving Pikmin to the lead. Okay, so Pikmin now leading the overall event. Caught up with some of the Class C field. Legend of Zelda wanted to take a peek to the very outside. However, he gets now boxed in. Ultima staying at the back, which provides them a little bit of leeway. And they're going to go underneath everybody. Ultima now to the lead. Yeah, Ultima, who started the previous lap in 6th, negotiated the multi-class format the best, and should now go from 6th to 1st in the event. So Ultima to the lead. Working around the 14 car of Metal Gear Solid. So there is your Class A leader. Let's take a look at our Class B field. Right now we've got Final Fantasy in the lead. However, several Class B cars caught up in this Class D bottleneck. Here's Ultima. Can Ultima go all the way on the outside around everybody? Yes, Ultima easily clears the Class D field. Meanwhile, Class B is kind of just mired here in the mess. Legend of Zelda makes it through. Pikmin and Fallout do not. Mario at the back of this field. G-Police there in the middle as well. A lot of Class A cars now caught up in this too. Yeah, that's where the Class B fight is right now, is just negotiating through this bottleneck here up front. Let's take a look at the Class C field. We've got Killer Instinct leading with Civilization just behind. So this is the battle for the Class C win right here. Once again, still a long ways to go. Much of the Class C field just behind them, but they've got a... They certainly have their own gap, so really it's their own race. Almost imagine they might just feel comfortable staying just like this while they are just moving through the laps, just trying to stay at the head of the field and just keep out of...
Yellow flag.
Oh, and then in the background we did see an incident here in the background. Let's move back a little bit. That is Ultima. That was our leader. Our leader. In Class A. Let's go first to Chopper Command to take a look at this. Our leader, Ultima. Coming up on some slower cars ahead, and ooh. Backs in pretty hard, getting a tow. Now, honestly, it didn't look race-ending, but that does put a damper on their hopes for trying to win this event. So with that, that's going to move Legend of Zelda now to the front of the field. Now getting caught up with the pace car. It's now the long wait for the rest of the field. Now, honestly, Legend of Zelda, given that there's not really going to be anybody behind them for a while, can basically get a free pit stop because the rest of the field's held behind by the Class D cars. They could get a quick pit stop and still be at the head of the field just by the nature of where everything has worked out. And Legend of Zelda is going to take that opportunity. So Legend of Zelda will be able to go into the field, or into the pits. The rest of the field is frozen in position behind the Class D leader. Let's move to Bayonetta right now, as they're hustling as fast as they can, but now everybody else is going to have to take their pit stops if they want it. I don't believe the Class D field has taken pit stops yet, so they might want to dive in and take this right now. Bayonetta appears to be the only one, though. Everybody else, excuse me, everybody else following suit. However, now if we move up to the Legend of Zelda, they're already moving out of the pits. And so Legend of Zelda has now effectively just gotten their full of fuel. They're at the front of the field in a great spot. As they'll take this restart as the overall leader of this race, with the Class D field just behind them. Nice little buffer. Everybody else will be able to get a nice jump on the field. Yeah, everything's coming up rupees right now for the Legend of Zelda. We'll get to the scoring line this time, and we will recheck the race lineup. Looks like that's Jeep Police just behind, but they are a lap down. wait for everybody to come through the start-finish line, and then we'll record who is here. But this will be the new lineup for the restart. All right, looks like everybody's through. So we Fallout in second, Pikmin in third, Elder Scrolls in fourth, Mega Man in fifth, and then Mario in sixth. That's your lead lap cars for Class A. Got Final Fantasy, Doom, and Dynasty Warriors, your top three in Class B. I do want to follow up on Ultima to see if they have made it back out onto the track.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. And we'll check in just a moment. Let's go to the head of the Class D field, since we know that we got most of the field behind them. Go ahead and go to the rear chase. Yep, on board with Call of Duty, as Legend of Zelda is basically got a free lap on the field right now, unless somebody can take advantage. We got Fallout going to the bottom. So Fallout has made it through. Pikmin's trying to push it right here, right before turn 3, and does get there. So Fallout and Pikmin giving chase to Legend of Zelda. Killer Instinct in Class C getting ahead as well. And somebody making a move into the pits. Didn't see who that was exactly. Number 16 of Final Fantasy made it through off another Class B car. Who was that other Class B car? That should have been Doom. So Doom and Final Fantasy in Class B up at the top. Elder Scrolls making it through. On Call of Duty with a little bit of a gap. Surprised that with how much the draft is, very important to this race. Oh, and then you can see, yep, the number 35 Animal Crossing closing right in. So there's the Legend of Zelda in the background coming out of turn 4. Moving to the bottom. Trying to get around the field, and getting all the way through. So Legend of Zelda. Legend of Zelda is through. So I was trying to see who had gotten ahead. That was Diablo and Civilization had gotten ahead of the Class D field. So that's Class C cars that have now made it through. Alright, and now Fallout has gotten to the back of this field, moving to the inside. Pikmin coming very fast. They're both, as they approach turn 3. Fallout is through. Pikmin just barely made it underneath Animal Crossing as they got through turn 3. So still giving chase to the Legend of Zelda. Shadow of the Colossus making it through. Very, very tense here. I wanted to check to see if Ultima is on track. Ultima is not on track, so Ultima might be done. Might have been enough damage to take them out of the race. Here comes G-Police and Elder Scrolls once again. G-Police is a lap down to the leader. Oh, and G Police. Oh, big moment behind there. Let's go back and take a look at that. G Police. Let's ride on board for that moment. Okay, get to the field. Okay, oh, they're gonna take to the outside. A turn 2. Oh, they're gonna get boxed in. Ooh, and somehow able to hang on. Yeah, joining back to live as The Legend of Zelda is approaching again. Looking at the bottom, but oh man, it'd be a daredevil move to get all the way before turn 1. So they funnel in. Oh, we do have a spin. The spin ended up off track though, so we ended up not needing to throw out the caution, but yeah, we did get some separation in the field as a result. There you go, Fallout and Pikmin, the number 2, number 3 cars. Pikmin going around the outside. Woo! Alright, let's jump aboard Legend of Zelda, because that's where we are right now. We're completing lap 39. Completion of the next lap will be 100 miles into the event. And we'll take a rundown of the field at that time. Yeah, Legend of Zelda, Pikmin, Fallout, which are cars here at the back on the outside. Oh, Legend of Zelda into the wall! On lap 40. Yeah, we saw that live. Legend of Zelda, it looks like it's now out of the race. Elder Scrolls might be missing a front wing. But yeah, that was just a big moment there. Yeah, Pikmin will now be your leader as they come to the start-finish line. And should be picked up by the pace car. We'll run down the order as it stands right now, but it's a big shakeup as your race leader, Legend of Zelda, now might be out of this event. Right at the 100-mile mark. Yeah, interested now to see if a lot of the Class D field ends up coming in, since really only Bayonetta and one other came in last time. So Pikmin in. Fallout stayed out. Looks like Mario came in as well. Or still has yet to make their pit stop. So let's move up to Fallout, our new leader of the race. Field is starting to thin out. We might have 6 cars out of the race, 4 of them being Class A cars. Looks like I got somebody in Class D with a prolonged pit stop. They might be staying there. Who is last in Class D right now? That is Cuphead. So Cuphead might be staying in there. Let's Alright, we'll get a rundown of the field now as we're getting ready for the restart. We'll have 3 cars in the lead lap. Fallout, Pikmin, and the Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls, I think, had to repair a wing. So they fell way back, but they'll catch back up here under caution. Alright, and now we're getting ready for the restart. Fallout, Pikmin, Elder Scrolls, the lead lap cars on Class A. Then we have Doom, Final Fantasy Dynasty Warriors, lead lap cars in Class B. Class C, Shadow of the Colossus, Diablo, Killer Instinct, top 3. And Class D, we have Spyro, Animal Crossing, and Dwarf Fortress. So top 3 in each class is on the class's lead lap. And we are restarting here on lap 44.
The yellow flag is out.
And the yellow flag is already out. Let's go back and take a look at who was involved. Somebody is up in the air, and that is Mario. Wow! Mario and the number 25 car of Diablo getting involved. Let's go to Chopper Command first for this one. So right here on the restart, Mario. Oh, Diablo moves to the outside and then just gets a fast charging Mario, and then Mario with all that momentum just flipping and flipping. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then let's take a look from Diablo's point of view on the cockpit. Alright, ready? And let's go. Oh, moves to the outside. Oh, and there's Mario. And somebody corrected so we could see a little bit more of the of the action. Wow, just wow. Here, let's get back toward the front of the field. Let's see, who is our leader right now? We got Fallout. Fallout is our leader at the moment. Fallout is taking this opportunity to go in the pits, taking the same strategy that Legend of Zelda did last time. So yeah, that might be 5 Class A cars out of the event, barely past the 100-mile mark, leaving only 4 to really compete for the top spot. However, if the Class A attrition is too high, then Class B might be the ones that are going for the overall win here. That is certainly a possibility. So we'll once again record what the field's looking like as of the restart. Yeah, the attrition, and the attrition really seems to be focused on the top class. The top classes are the ones that are really the issue. I wonder, I sort of wonder to myself if the Class B cars would start to see the attrition if the Class A cars were no longer there. Although it seems like they have been a lot more willing to be patient and sit through the field. And so perhaps not, but you just have to wonder if they're looking for that win. You got to find that mix of aggression and patience, and it's a delicate balancing act for sure. So here we are running down through the field. As we start to see the Class A cars go by the wayside. So now we only have 2 cars on the lead lap. That is Fallout and Pikmin. Mega Man and G-Police, the other 2 Class A cars still in the running. Elder Scrolls is a couple laps down. Trying to make up some ground. Doom and Final Fantasy are the lead lap cars for Class B. Shadow of the Colossus, Killer Instinct, Civilization top 3 for Class C. And Class D we have Spyro. All by themselves on the lead lap, and then Call of Duty and Metroid Prime. There we go. Fallout is moving, and the field is really spread out because of Class D cars not able to catch up before the restart. So we're already starting. The restart is already spread out. Yeah, I mean, Class D is separated in multiple parts on the track, something not normally seen. Because usually it's a draft-heavy affair where they are held together basically because of their aero dependence. Fallout maneuvering through lap traffic of other Class A cars. G-Police, I think, had been held up by a Class D car, and so he's still getting up to speed. Well, let's quickly take a look at Pikmin in the second spot. Not too far behind, but clean air for a little while. And with that, let's go and see what's going on with Class B. Our Class B lead right now is Doom at the back of this this line. This is what I mean, is that the Class B cars feels like they could easily make the maneuver around this Class D machine, but choosing instead not to. So this might be the pendulum swinging way too far the other way in terms of exhibiting patience, where really if you just took the move and got around, which I think you could easily do, you could really have a leg up on the rest of your field. Yeah, not too far behind here, we have Final Fantasy, who is in this mix of cars. And catching up to the group of cars containing the class leader, as they're being held up by a Class C car instead of a Class D car. Final Fantasy looking to the outside. Can they make the move? Actually, they would be boxed in by Class Leader Doom. So, what's funny is the Class C cars actually made the maneuver around the Class D car, but the Class B cars are still being held up. Here comes G-Police trying to make their way around. Easily clears them through turn 4. That's where this group stands. To Class C, we have Killer Instinct and Shadow of the Colossus here running 1-2 together. And they're quickly approaching a bottleneck of cars just ahead of them. Shadow of the Colossus looking to the outside, but not able to make the maneuver. Still trying. But now we're going to be in a group of cars. The large peloton of the Class D field is right here. And right now they're being held up, strangely enough, by a Class B car. Final Fantasy from behind looks to have gotten ahead of Doom. So move Final Fantasy to the Class B lead, and actually 5th overall. So remember, if we continue to see that attrition amongst the Class A field, Class B win could be the overall win. So here comes Doom. Doom looking to the outside, and Doom is going to retake the Class B lead, making their way around the entirety of that Class D field. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy stuck in the muck. Alright, let's quickly go back to the front of the field where the top 3 all on the lead lap. So there's Fallout, is currently in 2nd, has just recently been passed by Pikmin. So where they had been close because they'd been behind some traffic, Pikmin had maneuvered their way through the bottleneck. Fallout followed suit soon thereafter. They're approaching Class B cars Doom and Grand Theft Auto, who are approaching the Class D leader Spyro. Pikmin is through, and Pikmin will get a little bit of separation until they get to the next group of cars. Go back to that Class C lead. Killer Instinct made their way through. Shadow of the Colossus still stuck there, so Killer Instinct will get a little bit of breathing room. And Killer Instinct, Class C leader, who typically would be the 21st car in the seed, so Killer Instinct, the highest seed of the Class C cars, as you can see from the number 21, they are currently running 10th overall. Just remember, as that attrition builds, you know, even the Class C cars could potentially be in the running. And let's move to Spyro, the Class D leader, all by themselves by a long way. Here crossing the start-finish line, there's a Class C leader, Killer Instinct in turn 4, and then they've got clear track ahead, clear track behind for a while. Spyro's just out on a nice drive, no worries. Everything's going great. Here's looking with Cuphead here, which seems to find themselves the center of attention. There's a lot of cars not able to make their way through, and they're all greater class cars than they are. However, number 14 of Metal Gear Solid having a hard time finding their way around the outside. They're being followed closely by Xenoblade Chronicles just behind in Class C. And this is keeping Class A cars at bay. Now G-Police has now been released. And so we've got Pikmin. We've got Mega Man. Fallout, I think, is in this mix as well. Okay, Pikmin has been released. Pikmin, the overall leader, has released themselves from Cuphead and, frankly, Metal Gear Solid's grasp, as they seem unwilling to make the pass around the Class D car. I'm not sure if that's a strategy play of some kind to try to, but it does seem odd that they're not taking the opportunity to get around when it does seem like it is there. Pikmin, who has now been swallowed up by the next group of Class D cars, which is being this is the main peloton once again of the Class D cars, being headed by Call of Duty. Pikmin looking to the outside, and it looks like they've been able to release themselves. So Pikmin keeping up that advantage. The number 37 car of Dwarf Fortress, the Challenger winner from the Little Wing 500, has now moved themselves to the front of this group. Remember, they're all still chasing Spyro. Who's got about a third of a lap lead on this field. G-Police looking low. Oh, can they get all that way before turn 3? Oh, they did do it. Wow. When you see how timid the Class B cars, it's just impressive when the Class A cars get through so cleanly. Yeah, let's ride on board with your leader right now. Well, they've got relatively clear air. They're on lap 60. At the conclusion of this lap, we'll be done with 150 miles. Coming up on a couple of Class D cars. Slowed up a little bit just to make sure they can make it through cleanly, and they do. Yes, and now where they release themselves from Cuphead not too long ago, they are now catching up with that field in. Ooh, almost bit the dust there. Yeah, so here's them on the back now of Cuphead with Fallout and Mega Man just to their inside. And that effectively means that Pikmin has a lap on the field. Here comes G-Police. G-Police still 3 laps down, so if they can release themselves around this, could make up one of their laps. Seems to be stuck behind the number 17 car of Dynasty Warriors. Yeah, but funnily enough, this is where the action is. Oh, Pikmin to the outside and releases themselves once again, so now truly has a lap on the field. Pikmin now in a dominating spot, 150 miles into this event. $350 miles to go. Here just behind we can see, I believe that's the Class C leader of Killer Instinct coming up to join this pack. And so actually, Killer Instinct wanting to look to the inside. And not going to do it. Killer Instinct will tuck in to the back of this pack. So this actually seems to be where the action is right now. Strangely, led by the Class B car's unwillingness to pass the Class D field. So yeah, with that we could go back up to Pikmin, the dominating race leader right now. Go on board with them as the main pressure point of the race is right now currently in turn 2 as Pikmin's maneuvering through turn 1. Got a lap car just ahead. Easily gets by them. And now as they approach this group in turn 3, this is now an effective 2-lap lead on the field. They slow up pretty painfully all the way down to second gear. Look to the outside, look to the inside, back to the outside. 3-car wide in front of them, 4-car if you spread it out. No way through here, but as they look to the back of Mega Man and Fallout just ahead, that is effectively a 2-lap lead they have on the entire field. If they were able to get through this, I mean, they really just need to cruise from here as long as Fallout and Mega Man aren't able to find their way through. So that is Fallout just ahead. Once again, if they already have a 1-lap advantage and are looking to put them a 2nd lap down. Running in 2nd gear here. And it seems like content to do so. Yeah, so with that, let's move back to Cuphead and take a look back at the field. Here, for a moment, let's go back and take a look at how the Class D field is shaping up. Spyro, once again, still all by themselves. And then, once again, most of the Class D field is right here. And let's see how they're positioning themselves. As we've got Dwarf Fortress, Call of Duty, Metroid Prime, EVO, Animal Crossing, Bayonetta, Batman Arkham, Resident Evil, all in the mix here. Actually, a couple of those cars might be separated from this group. If we just step our way through, Call of Duty, Metroid Prime, EVO, Resident Evil, Animal Crossing. And then we get into the higher class cars that are being held up right now by this group. So they're now effectively 2 groups that are being held up by Class D cars. Although strangely, the other one, where the majority of the front runners are being held up by a single car. a single Class D car. Yeah, right here. Yeah, NHL 26 has now joined the back of this group. Yeah, it seems like either Dynasty Warriors or the 14 of Metal Gear Solid could make their way through, but they've chosen not to. And I'm sure Pikmin's just content to be like, hey, let's just run like this for a couple of hours and we'll call it a day. Which will then put Pikmin 2 into the game queue. Whew! Somebody lost the front wing there. You saw it sliding across the track just ahead of pit entrance. Pikmin getting a little chippy within the group. Really, for them, they just need to settle down and just stay the course, because right now they're in a great position. Alright, we can keep an eye on the track map to see if there's any developments here on the on the breakaways from that bottleneck, but right now let's go back to really the main fight that's happening here on the, which is the Class D lead. Or not really the lead, it's actually second place, because the leader of this class has a straightaway lead right now. Spyro already through turn 3, as the rest of the Class D field is exited turn 2. So if anybody wants to try to use the draft and find their way around. Right now it does not appear so. Everybody seems fairly content. They're just, they know there's still a decent amount of race ahead of them. Not trying to push too hard until it really starts to matter. And they all know they've got to catch Spyro if any one of them is going to have a chance of having that automatic move up into Class C at the next event. Oh, it looks like a few cars have made it around. Pikmin is missing a front wing, or half of the front wing. A few cars have made it through. Pikmin's stuck in the middle. They move to the outside and get through. Right now choosing not to. But that means we're right on board with Fallout. Fallout and G-Police have made it through. Right on board with them with relatively clean air right now as they actually now approaching that other Class D field. Ooh. Heavy on the brakes. Outside in turn 2. Through the short chute and through. Masterfully done. And it looks like Pikmin into the pits looking to repair the damaged front wing. So here is Pikmin in the pits. Here comes Fallout. Fallout is through, but Pikmin is also out. So Fallout has now made up a lap. Pikmin is now fully repaired. Back out on track. But now, yes, now Fallout might be back on the lead lap, but still nearly a full lap down to our leader Pikmin. So that has provided an opportunity for Fallout to get to the back of Pikmin should a caution come out. Fallout was able to get through this field, the Cuphead group that has been keeping most people at bay. Here goes G-Police is through. Pikmin now stuck here. So now let's go up to Fallout with some clear track and an opportunity to get back to the mix of this race as long as Pikmin is held up with the remainder of the field. Alright, Fallout needing to negotiate the main Class D field. Here comes Mega Man. Mega Man thinks better of it. Yeah, I think if that lane was there, I think Fallout would have taken it. And here comes G-Police, and G-Police also slowed him. So, alright, Fallout though has now released themselves. And they're now through. Let's go back and take a look at Pikmin, who is still at the back of the Cuphead field. As they're getting ready to... They'll approach mile 200 at lap 80. So they're just a few laps away from 200 miles. Alright, so they just crossed the start-finish line. Here's Fallout in the short chute between 3 and 4. And now crossing the start-finish line themselves. And now all of a sudden Fallout and Pikmin are right here for the lead. There. Alright, there's the lead right there. Pikmin on the inside, the red, white, and blue car. Fallout on the outside, the mostly blue car. Fallout to the lead from effectively 2 laps down. Without a caution, has now taken the lead and is sailing away from their closest competition. We have the 3rd place car of Mega Man approaching Pikmin. Mega Man still a lap down. to the leaders. But if we can keep pace with Fallout, can possibly get that lap back. Zoom, man. Mega Man is through. At least on Pikmin. So now the question will be, how can they do compared to Fallout? Fallout, now they got to the lead, not really taking any chances. Happy to kind of settle in and enjoy the lead now that they've made up that ground. Let's see how Mega Man feels though, because Mega Man could really gain a lot here if they can get this lap back. That's Fallout just ahead of them. Getting around Fallout puts them back on the lead lap. Unable to do it right now. But we'll keep an eye out on that development, as it looks like Pikmin has made it through on that field, so Pikmin will be able to catch up now with Fallout for the lead. So we'll keep an eye on this, as we're right now running lap 80. So Spyro might have made a pit stop from the lead. Class D, so Class D field may have been shaken up a little bit. And here comes Pikmin joining the back of this field. There's Mega Man. Where is Fallout? Fallout! Oh my goodness, Fallout has had an incident. No caution will be necessary. But it looks like Fallout has had... Oh, gets involved with... It looks like the number 27 car of Ori. Let's see what happens. Oh, Fallout's coming down. Ori swings out a little bit in turn 3 and takes out the wing of Fallout. So that actually now moves Mega Man on the lead lap, but with Pikmin bearing down on them right now. Alright, let's take a run down of the field as it stands right now for the conclusion of mile 200. Dwarf Fortress now to the head of the field in Class D. Alright, so now that we have gone through the 200-mile mark, right now we have Pikmin with a one-lap lead over Mega Man and Fallout, although Fallout may be out of the event. And we have G-Police. Then we get into the Class B field. We have Doom, Final Fantasy, and Mother. Doom looks like they have a lead on the rest of the Class B field. And then all by themselves for Class C, Killer Instinct, a lap ahead of their field with Gran Turismo and Civilization being the next cars in line. And then we have Dwarf Fortress, Metroid Prime, and Call of Duty, the top three right now in Class D. Several cars out of the race. If we look back to probably starting with Ori on back, likely out of this race. So upwards of 10, maybe 11 cars out of the event. And for Class A, it's really a 4-car affair, although one has a lead on that entire field. So here's Mega Man in second, so we'll see if they can catch back up and make anything happen. Spyro has had a very lonely day today. For a time, they were up in front all by themselves, but now running in 6th, probably after a pit stop, where the rest of the field is not. So there's very split strategy right now in Class D. So here's Mega Man catching up to the field that includes Pikmin. If they can get around this group, that should put Mega Man back on the lead lap, and in fact, they do. So Mega Man has released themselves. Mega Man now should be back on the lead lap. So now we'll put ourselves here with the Class D leading field. Metroid Prime right now seems to be at the head of that. Dwarf Fortress on the outside, looking to take that lead. Let's see how the outside works for them on going into turn 3. Metroid Prime seems to take over the lead spot right back from them. There's Mega Man. Mega Man is in their own field. The Cuphead group. Yes, they are being held up by the Cuphead car, so Mega Man looking to release themselves. G-Police a little bit in the way. Mega Man looking, not able to make it though. Looks like the Class B car of NHL looking to get through on the inside, made around a couple of cars, but not around everybody in the group. See a Mega Man at the back of this group looking to get back in touch with Pikmin, who is in the other group. Oh, Mega Man does look like made it around. So let's go back to Mega Man real quick. Mega Man did get released from that group. So once they catch back up, Mega Man will be fighting for the lead with Pikmin. Looks like Xenoblade Chronicles from Class C making their way into the pits. So Mega Man caught up with this group, but Pikmin has released themselves from theirs, so Pikmin once again gaining the advantage. We're on a very long green flag run here. Curious when pit stops will start for this group.
Caution, yellow flag.
Oh, and it'll be now. Oh, Pikmin almost involved in that. Let's see, it looks like, oh, is that Killer Instinct involved in this one? Yeah, and actually it might be G-Police from Class A who is really involved. Let's go to Chopper Command. Let's move back a little bit. Good view there, Chopper Command. Good job. Okay, here we go. And what happens here? Oh, G-Police just feels like they lose it. Move to the inside. Take out a couple of cars. Xenoblade, I think, had just come into the pits. Not really involved, necessarily, just held up. Now, here we are. We've got, yeah, caution on lap 90. First caution in a while. So I imagine there's a few machines who did make a pit stop just before, so they won't need to repit. Shadow Colossus certainly will because they have a missing front nose. Or front wing, at least. Yeah, it seems like the pace car has picked up Fallout for some reason. Okay, Fallout now has gone around. So here we got, so Pikmin has now caught up with the pace car. And I imagine many, many, many cars are going to go into the pits this time by. There goes Pikmin. Yeah, here's a lot of the Class D field coming in. Bayonetta staying out. Bayonetta must have come into the pits beforehand. So they'll get their lap back. They'll be on the back of the Class D field, although it takes a while for them to make up their lap because they can't do it in the length of time of the one pace lap when they get the wave around. There's that Class D field. There's Mega Man. Class B cars. Yeah, so majority of the field coming into the pits. Well, right on board with our overall leader right now, Pikmin, and we'll get that rundown of proceedings. As soon as everybody has crossed the timing line. Excuse me. And it will be Pikmin and Mega Man, the only 2 cars on the lead lap. The next closest car is going to be 5 laps down, and it's in a lower class. So there's only 2 Class A cars remaining in the field as it stands right now. Still half the race to go. So we will have to just see if, in fact, those 2 Class A cars can exhibit the patience that their class brethren have not been able to show. So up the front, we've got Pikmin and Mega Man. Then after that, we've got Doom, 5 laps down. A lap down for them, Final Fantasy Dynasty Warriors in Class B. Class C, we've got Civilization, Gran Turismo, Clay Fighter, kind of separated within the Class B field as well. And in Class D, we've got Spyro, ahead by a full lap of Metroid Prime and Dwarf Fortress. Really, that full lap is really probably a half a lap, just because of some cars being just behind the leader versus Spyro and being up ahead. But Spyro now once again finds himself all by themselves at the front of the Class D field, out for a nice calm drive. Not Pikmin. Who is in 3rd place right now for Class A? At least on track. It's Fallout. Still missing half a wing. And now going into the pits. There we got Pikmin. Right now in 1st. We got Mega Man in 2nd. There's now only 1 lap car of Class C between them. But that is how they are running at the moment. Class B leader by a full lap, but being held up by the Class D field right now is Doom. In the 11 car, the second of the blue and light blue and white cars on track. Once again, Class B, pretty much across the board, have kind of just shown they're willing to just exhibit patience. Which, I mean, it surely will play out for them in terms of the overall result and making it to the finish and accumulating points. In terms of making sure you're the one that gets the win, that's kind of up for debate, I would say. Class C, Civilization right now leading, and 10th place overall, which is impressive for Class C. There's Mega Man. Mega Man and Pikmin all right on board with Mega Man for just a moment, and at the back of this field, Pikmin just ahead. That is for the race lead. Fallout moving to the inside is getting released from this field. Cuphead now at the back of the field, so they're not just in the clean air all by themselves like they've been for a lot of this race. Pikmin thinking about making the move, but chooses not to. Yeah, Fallout on track with 9 laps behind. So yeah, they're out there, but they're gonna need the attrition of the others, and then they have to catch up with some of the Class B field in order to do it. But also, Class B's patience once again, might keep them from being able to keep Fallout at bay if, in fact, Pikmin and Mega Man run into some issues in the back half of the race. Ooh, a couple of Class B cars swerving behind this group of cars, and now they're settling in. That's Final Fantasy. That's Doom. Looks like actually made it through this field. So Doom, credit to them for being a Class B car that actually made it through. Already got a lap on the field, and they've released themselves from this group. Here goes Mega Man to the outside while Pikmin is boxed in. Oh, Mega Man! Oh, Mega Man involved in a huge wreck. Who was it that's taking the big spin over there to the inside? Let's see who that is over here. That's Grand Theft Auto from Class B. Oh, that patience not paying off. Let's go back to Chopper Command and take a look at this wreck from above. As Mega Man trying to push the issue. Really, Grand Theft Auto, no place to go, and just gets squeezed out by Mega Man. Ooh, hard hit, hard hit. Mega Man not even on track now. Mega Man looks like they might have gone into the pits, as they are likely damaged from that episode. Yeah, wow, just one of your leaders now all of a sudden, taken out of this event. Grand Theft Auto, who was looking in pretty good shape in terms of just being able to make it to the finish with that Class B, just general strategy of, pace yourself, make sure that you're, making it to the end. But now with Mega Man out, Fallout is all by themselves. Or no, sorry, not Fallout. Pikmin. Pikmin is all by themselves. 5-lap lead on the field. Fallout, the next closest Class A car, but they are, I think after this pit stop, because they'll get the lap back here, they'll be either 7 or 8 laps down. Pikmin now just needs to cruise to victory. The question now is, can they do that? Can they exhibit the patience that the rest of the Class A cars have not been willing to do? Can they do that? We'll see. Because if they cannot, then all of a sudden we have an interesting development of the Class B field could be the ones racing for the win, except for the fact that Fallout is actually willing to make the passes on the Class D field where the Class B field is not. So Fallout may be able to actually pull off an upset from multiple laps down if that happens. But first, we have to see what happens with Pikmin. Once again, Mega Man not on track. So we will have a restart at lap 102. We'll take a look at the rundown of the field once everybody crosses the line. And, once again, big developments here, but Pikmin really could be cruising their way to victory. But if they don't, we do have the interesting development between Fallout and Class A and the entirety of the Class B field. Car's getting the wave around, so Pikmin will be the first car behind the pace car. And really, Pikmin should just enjoy the clean air. I think that's really what we should be feeling here. It's just Pikmin, enjoy that clean air. Let's see, is Mega Man back on track? And then Mega Man is back to the pits, so Mega Man still might get back out there and be able to try to do some laps, but we'll have to see. Let's make the run down through the field here.
Green flag, green flag.
Yeah, cars out of this event, we're probably looking at now 13 to 15 cars out of the event, depending on whether Mega Man can get back on track. Yeah, we got some cars who just can't make the full round before in one lap to join the back of the field, so we really got two big separated fields right now. Let's go back to your Class B second place car, Final Fantasy. Got some clean air for a little while. And there's Doom, the class leader just behind, who's got a significant lead on this Class B field right now. Final Fantasy just really kind of running by themselves. There, let's go look at the Class C lead. We got Civilization right now in the Class C lead. Got about a half lap lead on their next competitor. Right now just driving in clean air. Gotta feel pretty good. Gran Turismo, who's not really had a lot of success, not a lot of luck in the video game selection series, but right now running in second place in class. That'll be a good points gain if Gran Turismo can hold on. Overall leader Pikmin just behind, but Pikmin very happy to just cruise right now. Doesn't need to stress anything. Go to the Class D field. Spyro, who has spent a large portion of this race by themselves up front, right now has a 2-car or a 3-car battle for the lead. Right now with Batman Arkham, the number 38 car, and Metroid Prime, the number 40 car. So they're running nose to tail. And then there's another group of the Class D field. Pikmin has made their way around another group of cars. And they'll probably come roaring by this group on the outside just a moment. There they go. Let's see how Fallout is doing. Here in this group. Now Fallout does have to make moves. Like Fallout can't just be sitting back and waiting. They are, what is it, 8 laps down. They can't just be sitting back and waiting. They've got to make the moves. There was Gran Turismo getting through the field, taking Class B car with them. That's Metal Gear Solid. Oh, Class D lead getting pretty feisty. Taking a look here at Spyro, Metroid Prime, Batman Arkham. These are the, other than Dwarf Fortress, who won the Challenger event, these are the 3 others that promoted from the Challenger Series last time. So really taking advantage of this opportunity so far to keep themselves in the Pro Series, gain some valuable points. Also, the win will move them to Class C for the next event. So these 3 really, the Challenger Bros, really in a good spot. I take that back, actually, because Metroid Prime and Spyro are on the lead lap, but actually Batman Arkham is a lap down to this field. I'll take that back. Although the 3rd place car is Dwarf Fortress, who also was the winner of the Challenger Series last time. So yeah, right now the top 3 running cars are from the Challenger Series, just recently promoted. So really showing the benefits of what you can do if you are able to take advantage of those opportunities. Back to our leader, Pikmin, running lap 109 of 200. So right now we'll just stick on board with them for a while and just give an opportunity to show what they're working with. We'll ride on board with them for a few laps and see what they're dealing with as they're trying to move themselves into the video game queue. As the attrition has taken its toll, Pickman winding down the laps, seeing a lot more clear track. Are coming up on a group here, probably will not get to them before turn 3. They are wide. They're pushing to the outside. But they have been able to find a bit more clear track for themselves. And once again, they don't need to push anything. They've got multiple laps lead. They are all by themselves in this event. All they've got to do is finish. Patience is the big key now. As Pikmin crosses the line this time, 120 laps will be complete. That is 300 miles. We'll get a rundown of the field as we're at the 300 mile mark. And see how things are progressing. Oh my goodness, huge development as Pickman, our leader by multiple laps, has now just been taken out of the race. Really trying to, I think with Fallout making up many laps, still 5 laps down, but I think Pickman decided it was time to be a little bit more aggressive and get through. Lost it here on the outside, comes down a little too far. Bangs into a lower class car, and now that is likely Pickman out of the race, which it's going to take a while for this to catch up on timing and scoring, but that's going to move Fallout actually to the lead on track. And actually with that, there was no caution called, which is a curious call from the officials, given there were cars right behind them. No caution called. And it will take a few laps for this to cycle through, or cycle itself out, but Fallout will move up to the race lead as a virtue of Pickman being too aggressive and dropping out of the race. Fallout from 8 laps down is about to take the race lead. Wow, just incredible development. And now the question is going to be, can Fallout show the patience they need to be able to make it to the end of this race? Because now they will have a 4-lap lead over Class B cars, and the next Class A car is 18 laps down to, or not 18, 14 laps down to them. So that would be really hard to make up in only 150 miles. And so Fallout, as long as they don't try to really push the issue, they're honestly in a better spot than Pickman was, just because the cars that would chase them down are Class B, and they have shown they are willing to exhibit a multitude of patience, almost infinite patience, in not passing the Class D cars. And so really Fallout just needs to maintain, and there's really not room for Mega Man, even at their most aggressive, to be able to get back to the race lead. Wow, huge developments there with about 150 miles to go. And another development we just witnessed with Fallout. Multiple lap later. No Class A cars chasing them. Going into turn 3. Approaches some cars a little too aggressively. Wipes out. And now they are out of the race. No one wants to win this race, it feels like. And now, all of a sudden, we turn our attention to the Class B field, as Class B is likely going to be the ones who produce the winner of this event. So yeah, we're back to live pictures. We are not under caution. No caution came out. But now, all of a sudden, there's only one Class A car left, and they are, relative to Doom, they are 10 laps down. 10 laps that need to be made up in the last 150 miles, which is 60 laps. 10 laps need to be made up in 60. I do not see that happening. So now, all of a sudden, the Class B field is likely going to produce the winner of this event, and right now, Doom has a 1-lap lead over most of the field. Let's see where NHL is. NHL is about a half a lap behind where Doom is. Just incredible. Incredible. Final Fantasy now basically a lap down to NHL and Doom. So Doom now in the commanding position. We could be seeing a Class B car take an overall win for the first time in the Video Game Selection Series.
The yellow flag is out. Green, green, green.
And we're now on the final lap. Doom. The Class D field will likely get one additional lap because they're ahead of the leader. But Doom with about a 1 lap lead. As long as it doesn't have an accident between in these last 2 turns. Should be cruising to victory. A win from the not premier class. And first time in video game selection series history. Here, the number 11, blue and white, here in the middle of the screen, checkered flag. Well done. Now let's go back to the front of the Class D field because there is still a battle to determine who's going to win Class D. And then we'll go through the lineup for the finish. There's Spyro pulling ahead here in the bottom of turn 3, going through the short chute, pulling up ahead of both Resident Evil and Call of Duty. Right now it seems to have a pretty good lead. Call of Duty trying to make the run on the outside. This is for the Class D victory. And it looks like Call of Duty did just inch ahead. Yes, Call of Duty will win by 13 1/1000ths of a second. Phenomenal race. Yeah, and so now we will go back and let the cars file back into the pits, but yes, your winner, Doom from the not premier class. NHL in second, Metal Gear Solid in third, Final Fantasy fourth, Last of Us fifth, all from Class B. Class C finishing sixth overall, but the winner for Class C is Gran Turismo, followed by Civilization. Great run by Gran Turismo at the very end of this race to capture that. And then you can go down and see the rest of the field. Call of Duty once again winning the Class D race in a very close affair over Spyro. And then Class A, in a kind of miracle comeback, was won by Mega Man, but that is actually the worst of the class winners. So yes, not Call of Duty, but Doom will join the video game queue, even though it was winner of Class B. So all of the Class A will kind of stick around. No one gets promoted to Class A just based on a win, because that's reserved for the Class B winner, who won the overall. So that won't exist here. And the Class C winner which is Gran Turismo, will go to Class B. And the Class D winner, Call of Duty, will go to Class C for the next event. And so, with that, we'll wrap up our coverage of the 500 at Indianapolis Pro Series race. And we'll look to see you next time.